Hey everyone, this is Phil. I'm here with Chris, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We had one of our subscribers, who's also our moderator on our Discord server, Chaz, send us some footage from one of games that he's played recently. And our thought was that we're actually going to do something similar to what we did in our one of our last videos, where we looked at some of my footage and we analyzed critically. And we're going to do something a bit similar with the footage that Chaz sent us. So to give us a little bit of context, Chaz says that for this game, it was a game of search for the objective and then control the objective. So there's no retrieval, just protect it from the other team. The objective was a large round cylinder, about 4 feet long, 10 inches around with handles. So it's super heavy and it was a pain to move. So it's the sort of ideal objective to just go and defend, not have to sort of retrieve anything. It's worth noting that in this video, Chaz is also using sort of a designated marksman rifle style of setup. So he was engaging at a bit longer distances. And thankfully, he has some camera setups that allow us to see that a little bit. But it's not like in some of the edited YouTube videos where you can see like the person has put the hit markers or anything. No. You're not going to see any of that in this video. It's really just raw footage from Chaz.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going through it. We're going to, make some commentary about it as we're watching. We're going to pause at regular intervals. And yeah, so here we go. So let's switch it over, and this is it. Like that he has the other views now.
Yeah. Nice. Okay, let's just go ahead and pause it, Phil. So I think it's worth noting that neither Phil nor I have seen this footage.
Yeah, that's right.
We have, this field is in Colorado, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Never even been to Colorado before.
That's right, yeah.
So we're at a little bit of a disadvantage for not knowing these details. But just right away, you can tell that Chaz knows the field very well.
Yeah, absolutely.
He sprinted sprinted, Chaz,
Yes.
to his first, point of contact. And he immediately started laying rounds, right?
Yeah, I noticed too, like, if I just scroll back just a little bit here, let's see here, just move it forward a little bit. Before he starts engaging, it's just before this. So right here, I noticed, like, he's not actually in cover here, right? He's just completely exposed. And I think that talks to what you were saying before. Like, he knows this field. So he knows this is likely going to be a safe position for him to engage in, where he has that fire lane, and then he switches over.
Exactly.
And immediately
and it's easy for us to, quarterback on this and be like, oh, yeah, you should always get cover before.
Yeah.
But, there's lots of situations where that's not necessarily, the thing to do. And obviously, he just looks like he shot, like, a bunch of people.
Yeah, right out the gate. All right, let's keep it going here. Already out of breath, and it's been like 20 seconds.
Right. But yeah, now he's getting into a cover position.
Did you guys get hit already?
Yeah. Some high rate of fire going on over there.
Yep.
See that guy right in front of him? He's not using his left side. He's just completely out of cover.
Yeah.
This is asking to get shot at.
Get to that next tree.
Here we go. So it's worth noting Chaz is a very experienced player. And as you can tell by this, he's, trying to work with the guys. He might not know these guys, but he's just trying to, establish a little bit of communication with them and get these guys moving up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also like here, you can see he's shooting between the trees. Like, that's a good utilization of cover right there. Like, really minimizing his exposure, which is great.
For sure. Somebody is laying hate.
Yeah. Can't even see what he's shooting at. Oh, there he is. You can see him right on top there.
You see someone?
Yeah, they're way back there though.
Oh, okay.
So look straight behind me. Gun sight me. See it? That bush down there? If you look at the gun, they're back there.
What he's referring to here with gun sighting is having the other players follow the orientation of his rifle to get on the same target as him.
Yeah, and that's actually a big problem that you encounter on the field sometimes. Players like, oh, he's over there. Oh, he's just that way. But like, it's hard unless you're lined up with the person's hand to know exactly where they're pointing. Right?
Even if you give clock directions, most people, especially of generation, even one below us.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a digital sort of age, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's real quiet now.
I need to get more.
Wow. It just puts his little hand up.
Yeah.
That's a long
That's
shot, hey?
200 feet out.
Yeah.
Right?
There's a tree.
It is worth noting as well that in his description of this, Chaz did say his DMR, he's comfortable
have
shooting
eyes
out
on.
to
You
200
go
feet,
low here.
but he does have an MED, so I think we're going to see that coming up later.
Right.
A minimum engagement distance with that rifle.
Shout out this person using a FAMAS as well. That's a
Yeah.
nice.
Stay down the whole time. Like get on your knees and just crawl through it. You can get right up in behind him, hit him from the side.
Looks like a few
Are
of
you
his
trying to go for the saw?
friendly players are getting tagged here on the left.
Yeah. That guy was just out in the open by the
Yeah.
looks of it.
This mag is shit.
I'm not sure what he's doing here. It's taking a while. Yeah, there. That's where it goes, Chaz.
And I think just from knowing about this rifle a little bit, I think he's using the high caps because this is a 7.62 style platform. So I think it's harder to get the mid caps for that gun. That's not ridiculously expensive.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can still see that guy right there.
Yeah. Oh, he's well within his effective. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got him.
Oh yeah.
He's well within his effective range here.
2 dead coming out.
You see that dark shadow as well? Like you can very clearly tell it's a player.
Yep.
Not a lot of advancing going up on the left side here.
No. And again, not knowing the field, I mean, it could just be open to the next.
Is that them firing? Or is that you? So that's like a death alley going right through there.
Let's see what they do.
Yeah. They were talking a lot at the start, and they're not communicating quite as much now, right?
Yeah, if you just want to pause it there for a second, Phil. Again, the point of these videos is not to be negative or to call out anybody
No,
on
not at all.
anything in particular. But in this sort of situation, what ideally we'd like to see is, okay, we know that Chaz is in an established position and can make contact with the enemy. Doesn't seem like a lot of the other players can. So much like he instructed that first player to get on their knees and crawl in, that's what we'd like to see here. We'd like to see some more communication. If there's a death alley on the left and we can't move up, we want to keep the base of fire and shift those guys around.
Totally. Like if you know that your guys are on your limit of advance on any side, like I mean, you can certainly stay there if you're being effective, which Chaz is, but then who's going to make the movement on the field, right, to get those people out of that position?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if this just goes on and on, I mean, we're still got a fair amount of time on this video, but if it goes on and on, those people on Chaz's left, they're just eventually going to get hit just by the force of it, right? It's going to happen if you're not doing anything on the right.
Be ready, fellas.
Well, sounds like somebody's organizing.
Someone just came out. 2 of them just came out. Crossing.
So it's very important. He's letting his guys know.
All that.
I think he put in those extra sounds to
Spruce it up.
spruce it up and remove his swearing.
I like it, yeah.
Push him.
This kind of terrain.
Move forward.
Yeah, if you just want to pause it for a second,
Yeah.
Phil. This kind of terrain is super hard to play in as well with this grass of different heights, because all this grass is a concealment.
Mm-hmm.
Because 1 BB might not get through it, but 5, 6, 10, eventually you're going to get hit.
Yep. All right, so let's keep going.
right over there.
I think he lost one of his front cameras. Did you see that?
Did you outrun him?
I didn't notice.
So I'll pause it when... Oh, maybe not.
Okay, so let's get behind the stump over here.
Hmm.
Man.
Yeah.
Whereabouts, man?
Oof.
He's down. He's down. That might have been the guy behind the tree.
I love how he's saying he's down. He's still pulling that trigger.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh yeah. He's
Wow. Look at that range.
Yep.
Two crossing in down low to the right.
Yeah. He's putting on some fire here.
Yeah. No question.
So again, let's just pause it here for a second, Phil. I mean, he's getting good communication with this guy up front.
Yep.
Ideally, like that's what you want. You want to be calling targets back and forth. You got two different angles here, and then he's in a pretty good position here with this tree. It seems like he's staying far enough back that he can switch his rifle between, between targets fairly well, because that's something very important. And this other guy is doing it as well. You don't want to get sucked up on these non-conventional covers,
Yeah.
because as soon as you're sucked up on it, you're gonna have to swing out, and you're gonna expose so much more of yourself.
Yeah. So what's funny though is, he was saying that if I look through his description here, he was saying that their objective was to just go to the objective and control it, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't look like they've achieved that at this point, right?
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Sounds like a BB, but it's the sight hitting his like goggles or whatever.
Yeah.
He's walking out. Coming up to you, mister.
Guy had his gun down like on the ground.
Yeah. So this doesn't appear to be the greatest cover, but I don't know if the enemy players can actually hit him
Yeah.
from this range. So that's something else to consider. I mean, I've been in that situation many times where I'm a little bit more exposed because I'm getting good shots and I know the enemy can't hit me.
Yeah, definitely. And now that we're further in the video, like when we were saying at the start, he's completely exposed. There's almost no chance that anybody was going to shoot him at that range, given how far away they were, right?
Yep.
So that makes a lot of sense. And that comes down again to what you were saying, which is he knows the field,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
Not a lot of movement out there.
Do you think we're good to?
Hold on. He's shooting almost
okay?
as much as I do.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, mosquito.
Except he's shooting full auto.
Yeah.
Moving up to the next tree.
Nice. So he's using the suppressive fire from his friend.
Yep. Not seeing a lot.
Where?
2 o'clock on the road. 12 o'clock on the road.
Is it 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock?
I've
So
got
both.
fire to this tree.
Sounds like they're getting a bit of a movement organized here now.
Yep.
And it's very, very important what he's doing here. If you just want to pause that for a second, Phil. So he's seeing contact behind this bit of brush. And what a lot of newer players will do is they'll just fire one or two and say, okay, that's good. he's putting 10, 15, 20 BBs through there because there's a decent chance that one is going to get through.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a lot, obviously like a lot of brush to go through there.
Yeah.
So, you know, 1 or 2 shots is not going to do it. Now, on the flip side, though, I mean, he's shooting at those people, and I don't necessarily know that anybody else knows that those people are there, right? So I think always when we're, and again, like what you're saying at the start, it's not to like, you know, crap on anyone. It's not the intent, but
No.
anytime when we're engaging stuff, you know, you want to call it out and say like, this is what I'm shooting at. That's helpful to your teammates. So this way, the guy who he left behind on his left, he knows, oh yeah, there's 2 targets there, wherever,
Yeah.
right?
Is he dead and coming out? Cool. Can we move up?
Okay, they find the objective.
Hey, guys, Tang found the objective. Right down here.
Over here where my end is. Where?
Right, so look to my 12, where I'm pointing.
Yeah.
See him right down there?
Yeah.
What do we do with it? We grab it and take it back? Oh, okay.
Let him get it.
Gotcha.
Tang, I have your gun.
Cool. You have yours?
Yeah.
Do you have yours?
I have a pistol.
So the only thing I would say here is like they're organizing and they're having a good conversation about who's got what stuff. That seems fine, but what else is going on in the field, right? Like Chad's obviously very focused on this guy talking to the guy behind him.
Yep.
What's going on at their like 12 o'clock or I mean further down the line? What's their situation awareness like? And I think you're seeing a little bit of a breakdown here. Like they're not necessarily certain what's going on with the other team. So, you know, you're coming out of cover. Yeah, sure, you're interacting with someone, but you also want to make sure that you're keeping good eyes, like 360 coverage on the field, right? And it's hard to do because when something like when the objective is there, like that draws all of your focus. You almost need to force yourself, right?
And the other thing about it is we don't know who these guys are. So I mean, that could be the first time that he's met them. You know, it's really hard to organize people you don't know or
Very
new
true,
players, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So I mean, we run into that all the time, and all I'll say about that is I totally agree, and ideally that's what you want to do. Like to me, as soon as I see this, I'm like, there's a ridge. I want to get that guy who with the big gun, get on the ridge.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, totally agree.
I'm gonna go run it down to you.
Move up 1 tree.
Moving up.
And now it seems like Chaz here with the DMR is actually pushing positions, which I think he mentioned that in his video description as well, that that's not necessarily what he would have chosen to do, but that's the situation where he was.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I mean, we've seen it time and time again, a guy with a, you know, a bad gun, quote unquote, just absolutely destroy because they get in the right position and have the right instincts and they do the right thing.
Yeah. And the thing about it is too, is even if you do have a DMR and even if you are able to engage at 200 feet like he was doing pretty effectively at the start, there's still necessarily no disadvantage to being a little bit closer if you can be, but there is a point of diminishing returns where you're like,
Yes.
you know what, this is too close, right?
That's
I'm
right.
not as effective.
Yeah. And you can just tell from the brush around the trees, these are previously used, well-defended positions, right? Okay, so you can see him switching to his sidearm here now, or at least getting it ready. So I suspect he's going to take this position as a, you know, a hard point now for defending the objective.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned before, in my mind, what I'd want to do is get those guys behind me, band out around it.
It's funny too that he takes his pistol out and lays it on his leg like that. Hey, I wonder why that is. I'll have to ask him on the Discord. But...
So I mean, there's a few different things with that. Sometimes guys will do it because they know they're going to be in that position and they want to, you know, that's quick.
Mhm.
You know, it's sort of it's not something that I do because I know that in the, you know, in the in an instant you might have the move and then my pistol's gone.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's just, I mean, that can be a preference thing, right? I'm assuming that's why he did it.
Yeah. Plus, you'd never use your pistol anyway.
It's true.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's in a good position here.
Yeah, that's some good, decent range he's got there.
Yep.
5 more minutes.
One of our guys up to our
So yeah, it looks like he can both
Is
see.
that behind the tree with no bark on it? The big one? Gotcha. That's what I thought.
He can both see the objective and see some pretty clear enemy favorite
He's got a good
lines.
fire lane right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Is he shooting offhand? Could you tell?
He was shooting from his right side at that point right there.
Oh, yeah. He told us he sped up a couple parts because obviously he doesn't move that quick.
And man, I'm behind you to your left, up on the hill.
So he's letting his friendly player know who's right there at the tree.
Yeah.
So it looks like he can see a lot here.
Oh yeah. Look at that view.
Yeah. And as you mentioned at the beginning of this, Phil, yeah, this is a real no rehearsal game. Like he's just out here playing.
Yeah.
So there's wind, there's all kinds of brush and all that kind of stuff. So I'm very suspicious of any video that I see where somebody is getting one hit kills in this kind of terrain.
Yeah.
Like playing, our vegetation is much more dense than this in general.
Yeah.
We don't have a whole lot of just grassy plains with nice deciduous trees growing through.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
mostly a pine mess. So even for us, like, we've got some nice accurate guns, and there's been very few single shot kills.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that really has struck me so far is that Chaz has a really good rifle that he spent a lot of time and obviously money upgrading and tuning to get very good. And I think what he's showing in this video is an accurate representation of what airsoft accuracy looks like realistically at the high level, right? None of this like go into the field and getting headshots all day long in a compilation video that you can't really that's like super cut or whatever. Like this is how good it's gonna get, really, right?
Yeah. And a lot of the even the things that he's doing here is hard to tell because the camera's slightly offset. It's not a camera where we can see his actual reticle or anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, a lot of his shooting, sometimes it might seem sporadic, but I recognize that as a technique, right? The same as if somebody's hiding behind a tree. Well, I might dump rounds in a circle all around because as they're moving or the wind or whatever, right?
Absolutely, yeah. All right, let's keep it going. Oh, don't strain yourself there, bud.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
I think this guy's just not realizing he's getting hit. Oh.
That guy did.
One out.
Not the other guy though.
Two out.
What did he call himself?
Wow.
Out?
Yeah.
The two to your right are gone.
And that was great when he can you just go back to that for a
Yeah,
second?
absolutely. Let's see, where were we looking?
Wow.
Further back than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go here maybe.
Okay, so he sees this player, and to me, it looks like he gets a hit within the
Oh
first
yeah.
few.
Those rounds
Now,
are bang on.
Again, we don't know the distance. We don't know the other player involved, but he could be getting gear hits, whatever. We'll give him the benefit of a doubt. So Chaz keeps lighting this guy up.
But it's funny because like there's a player down here and I never even noticed that until
either.
he moves and you're like, oh, there he is.
So, and you can sort of tell this guy knows something's going on because he's getting down, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't firing, so he knows something's on the go. So he's looking to see if he can see the player shooting at him.
Yeah.
To me, that always sets off a little flag of, oh, well, if you didn't see the player, do you not call a hit? What?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's not the point. We'll keep going here.
And
So
then this guy
guy's-
pops up. It's like, oh boy.
And soon as Chaz notices him, it's an immediate shift
One
right
out.
to that target.
Yeah.
That's great.
Two
because
out.
What that shows is it shows that he is. There's obviously there's a little bit of tunnel vision there because he's shooting. But as soon as the new target pops up, that's the threat. Bang bang, 2 shots. Up again, tagging tagging the next guy. That was great.
And he definitely hit that guy, like the second guy. And I think the first guy probably called it as a result of that second guy getting hit
Wow.
too.
The two to your right are gone.
And that's the thing too, guys, is like if you're firing at somebody and they're not calling it, it's like most of us will fire until we see that hand,
Yeah, that's right.
right? Like that's their own fault if they're not calling it.
Careful, there's one down straight in front of you in the trees.
So he's communicating this to
Nice.
the guy in front of the tree here.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start a GoFundMe and get Chaz a holster for his pistol. Wow.
Oh yeah, he's in a great position.
Yeah, yeah.
See, he's just hammering away until he hears the shot, or he hears the hit
Whoa,
code.
whoa,
Sorry.
whoa! Right in front of you, man. I'm down low. Taken out.
He's calling out a near friendly fire incident. Some shit talking, love it.
Yeah.
One running up in center. One. Hey! Look to your right. Look to your right.
Good job, Chaz. I think you hit that guy too.
Yeah. Hard to see the BBs in that light.
Okay, friendly fire, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sucks,
Rest in peace, Chaz.
right? That was a great run.
Yeah, that was a great run. I think, you know, looking at this, it's interesting to see how other players play at other fields with no sort of doctoring of like the footage. Just like here's I mean, aside from putting those little noises to cover up his swear words, like this is what it's like playing at his field, which is interesting because you only really have exposure to the way that people play it, at your own field, right?
Definitely. And I think that it shows like, he obviously had a few very good spots that he knew were good spots.
Yeah.
And he kept going to those.
Yeah, and I mean, because he knows the field, obviously.
Yeah.
What's really strikes me is that fundamentally, I mean, we've never played with these people before, but like, that's just like players at our field.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yep.
people play roughly the same way. I noticed there's a lot of talking going on. Like, people are talking to each other and they're not out. Like, they're still like just not like communicating, just chatting and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, but like now people know, like you're giving yourself away, right?
Definitely. I think that's definitely a field to field sort of thing. Like
Yeah.
especially when we play not at our local field, our organized field,
Yeah.
but when we just play in the woods, I mean, everybody is fairly turned on. Like
Yeah.
everybody is switched on, ready to go. There's no messing about until we get back to the safe zone.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely something that was different here. But again, I believe he said in some of these, even just an open game, I mean, you can get hundreds of people.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So that's a lot more than we're used to playing.
Yeah, I think overall, some of the stuff that I really liked, obviously, you mentioned this before, but like the fact that he shoots until he sees a hand, I think is critical, right?
Yep.
Because you never know. Like you can think your gun is like tuned and you're hitting the guy, but honestly, if he doesn't put his hand up, you never hit him. That's the bottom line, right? So you need to keep shooting until you see that hand go up, right? And if you're the kind of player who will take the hit and just walk off the field without putting their hand up or calling hit, like I'm just gonna keep shooting you. Sorry,
Oh,
but that's
same.
that's how it's gonna go.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like your first reaction when you even think you're hit should be to announce it, hand up, rifle up,
Yeah.
and get out of there. Because then it lets everybody know. I mean, just think about it. Like, how would you want people to react when you hit them?
Yeah.
Right. The same thing.
I think too, he did a really good job using the cover. Aside from not shooting as offside as much as maybe you or I, and that's down to practice maybe or what have you. But he wasn't standing the whole time. Like there were positions when there was times when he was prone or
Yep.
kneeling or really using the space to cover himself as best as he could. Which again is not something you always see. Like we saw lots of people in the video just standing right out in the open, and he did at the start, like we were saying. But he knows that he was
Yep.
too far away, so that's fine. But even later on, instead of being stood up behind a tree, taking a knee, looking around, like that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool, I think, too.
Yeah. Well, and even you seen in the last part where he was just tagging guys left, right, and center, it was because if they dropped down to a crawl, you wouldn't see them in the grass,
Mhm.
right? Just little things like that. Yeah, he definitely used cover very effectively. The offhand shooting might be because, and we'll have the check, but he might have been using a magnified optic that gets a lot harder
Oh yeah,
to
yeah.
switch shoulders with, right? Because of
The eye relief,
differences in
yeah.
eyes, eye relief, that sort of thing. So
Yeah, that's fair.
not really too shook about that, but he definitely used cover a lot. You could tell in the trees he was using his hand to rest the rifle, right,
Mhm.
on a vertical
Yep.
surface.
Yep.
That's a
Yep.
great technique. Not a lot of people use that in airsoft, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it really takes. I mean, it's funny you had that guy with the M60 putting it on the ground because it's too heavy,
Yeah,
right? But like, if you're just holding it, like, sure, you use your hand to rest it, then it's not as heavy on your
definitely.
shoulders. You can
And
use
all it
longer.
takes is you put your hand against the cover and then you rest your rifle here.
Yeah, that's it.
So can be used on anything.
Yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was really fun to look at that footage to see what it's like on Chaz's field. I would like to do this again in the future. I know if there's any of you guys who are interested in us having a look at your undoctored airsoft footage and just sort of the as it is in its entirety from start to finish, you can certainly mute out the swear words if you want to. There's
We're cool
no
with it.
issue there. We're cool with it. We'll mute them in the video either way, so that's all good. But if you'd like to submit some footage for us to look at, you can do that through the Discord. Just join us there, shoot us a link, and we'll have a look at it perhaps for future videos.
Yeah.
Anything else you wanted to add before we close out?
No, and again, I mean, this is no malicious. This is no malicious intent.
Yeah,
This
for
is
sure.
just some fun. You know, you might get some tips. We might learn a few things for sure.
Definitely.
And we just like seeing where other people play.
Yeah, and especially being able to see the realities of airsoft in different places is something you don't necessarily see a lot of on YouTube. So hopefully we can help drive that forward a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you later.